Welcome to our episode 4 of the Cry Rate podcast. Today we are talking about resilience perspectives. And thanks to Dr. Gail Ann Guy, we have a guest today. And she's going to introduce herself, I believe, and engage with us. And if we can't get the camera to work, we're going to be okay with that. So I thought this would be an interesting kind of discussion, and I want to really get into the discussion, Dr. Gale, about this idea of the resilience perspective, the idea that you can be resilient when you're faced with really tough things. And I think the story that Toya is going to share with us puts us in that mindset, not just because of the idea of experiencing things, but the idea of what keeps you going.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's what a lot of people are missing. They don't have the real sense of purpose and the real sense of what they want to do with their lives, their careers, that keeps them in that space of getting up even though they're knocked back, or handling setbacks and facing them with resilience, because they don't know themselves enough to find that resilience. So that's really where I hope we can help people process that need and find that opportunity to and find themselves as it is in this.
Okay, so listen, Michael, I need for you to give me a drum roll while I introduce Miss Toya York,
All
right?
right.
Because this is fantastic. I just want everyone to know that this is a lady, this is a story, and I hope that you will be inspired. In fact, I know that you're going to be inspired after hearing Miss Toya York coming to us out of TNT. Trinidad and Tobago, sharing her story of resilience. Girl, I mean, you are fantastic. So before any further ado, can you just go ahead and just introduce yourself to the audience? Tell them a bit about yourself, and then we'll get into questioning and discussing your story as you share.
All right. So thank you very much for inviting me, both of you for inviting me. Let me just ask again if you all are hearing me.
We're hearing you clearly. We just can't see you, but that's
And I
okay.
must apologize that the camera isn't working. It's a very new computer. My own had crashed, I think some weeks ago, and the Ministry of Education gave me a computer, and I have not used it as yet. So this is the first time I'm using the computer. So you see
Okay,
how technology can fail us.
I tell you,
Um,
no worries at all. Go right ahead. We'll
yes. So
wait.
sorry about that.
Yes.
Okay, so one time delving right into it. So as you said, my name is Toya Annie York out of the lovely Isle of Trinidad and Tobago. I'm a teacher, love what I do. Um, Teach at Maracas SDA, Seventh Day Adventist Primary School. I am the teacher upper school standards 4 and 5. It's the class that you get children ready for secondary entrance assessment, high stakes test, which is SCA, transitioning into secondary school, as we would say in Trinidad and Tobago. My journey started off last year, as a matter of fact, where I realized that my vision started affecting my day-to-day life. It started affecting my day-to-day life. And it truly came difficult in the months of July, August. And that is when I went to the doctor, and they said, York, the only thing that you can do right now to save your eyes, it's to do a surgery, because the retina attached not only in one eye, but in both eyes. Both eyes. So my left eye, it's the worst of the two, and my right eye was the better. And they said, hey, we have to try to save the right eye first, and then we will attack the left eye. So I did the first surgery. I did the first surgery in August. That is another. We need another podcast for that experience because it was truly an experience. I was awake for the entire surgery, so you're hearing the machines, you're hearing past the scalpel here and there, you're hearing them having the conversations, and you're just there praying to God that it's over. So that surgery happened, and um, it went well September, but October I went out to work the first week in October, and by the Friday I realized something is wrong. Something was definitely wrong. I was not seeing as I should, and I was told, "Hey, let me just call them the Saturday." So the Friday, school dismissed. I packed up. I came home Saturday morning. I realized something was wrong. Inspired, I called and they said, "Hey, you come in immediately." When I went back in, they said, "Hey, you have to go under the knife again." The retina detached once again in the right eye. And I would tell you, I cried. I cried.
And in that
Uh,
moment, Toya, when you were crying,
yes.
what was going through your mind? What were you thinking
What
about?
was going through my mind, believe it or not, is who will teach my kids? Imagine that. Who would teach my standard fours, my standard fives? Who would teach them? It was uh, because I love what I do so much. It was never about me. The first thing that came into my mind was who would be their teacher. Surprisingly, it was who would be their teacher, and second
Wow.
was again, Lord. And I went back again.
Mm-hmm.
October, I think October 9th was when I went back again. The same experience, what they have to do, and again, I must say it's an experience. You cannot tell someone. You have to go through it to understand the experience of having an eye surgery, not once but twice. This time they placed in the eye. Before it was gas, they would use to hold the retina in place. This time they put in oil to hold the retina in place. And up to today, I have oil in my eye. Believe it or not, I still have oil in my eye, and I could see the oil. No one sees it, but I could see the oil in my eye, and it's blurry. It's blurry. So I have my left eye not functioning, and my right eye very blurry. The doctors would ask me, Miss York, down to I think 3 weeks ago when I went back in with some hiccups because there are hiccups along the way with the eye. The pressure goes up in the eye. They have to inject the eye to take out the fluid. A lot of things happening right now, But I'm keeping the faith. They would ask me, what I'm proud. They will say, what you still go to work. They are shocked that I still get up after they go. I inject the eye. I get up. I put my handbag on, and I still go to work, and I still go in front of the kids, and I smile. And that right there, when I go in front of the kids, everything else just melts away in the background.
Mm.
Everything else melts away in the background.
So let me get
So
this straight. Let me get this straight. So what you're saying, Toya,
mhm.
do you mind telling the audience how old you are?
Sorry, can you repeat?
Can you tell the audience how old you are if you don't mind?
Oh, I am 39. I am
I just
39.
want you to
Yeah.
understand what's happening here. So what you're telling me, Toya, is that you get up in the morning, get dressed, go to work, stand or sit or do whatever you need to do, lesson plan, and still have every intention in teaching these students and putting forth your best foot forward. Now, how do you get from home to work? It's just
Oh, wow. Well, I have a plan. I have a plan. When the surgery first happened, I could not see the traffic lights changing. So that was very dangerous. So I could not travel. I could not travel. I developed anxiety in
Mhm,
traveling or moving around on my own, I must say. And
naturally.
to counteract that, I have family and friends who would, you know, drop me, who would drop me to work, because as I said before, I cannot see the lights change. There are certain things that my eyes still cannot see. Even looking at this computer, it's very blurry. It's very blurry. Even to read, I would use a reading glasses or a magnifying glass. Even literally sitting down right there, I have my magnifying glass in front of me, literally. Even at work, I will use my reading glasses to, just go through the students' work, not using it for long period, because the eyes itself, you could feel the strain on the eyes. Um, and the thing is, working with children, they are such a joy. They will say, "Miss, you're using a magnifying glass." I say, "Yes, it's to see better with." Joke along with them, as well as they laugh at me in certain things. And I have it as fun. We have it as fun in the classroom.
Wow, talk about resilience. Dr. Wright, do you have any questions? Do you want to interject at this juncture?
Well, I think the biggest thing is this story
Yeah,
is a story that's really resonates with people, because the challenge of not only figuring out how you manage the health crisis, but
yeah,
the fact that life goes on beyond that. And
yeah.
so I really want to get into what we do, Toya, on this show, is really take these pieces step by step to really look at the resilience, the health, and the healing. And so
Hmm.
thank you for that story and sharing with us on that piece. As we get into our first segment on
Yes.
the resilience piece, we've already recognized that you've this is really shown us a large piece of what that resilience is. Like I said at the beginning, resilience isn't, life is going well. Resilience requires that some things are going wrong and you come back from
Yeah.
them. So
Show up.
within this, the first question from my point of view is, what is it that has you anchored? When you think
Hmm.
about, I kind of hear when you say you work at a Seventh Day Adventist
Yes.
school. There's a beginning of faith there somewhere. What
Yes.
does that anchoring look like for you?
First of all, you hit the nail on the head with the Seventh Day Adventist school. I must say thank you to my mom and my grandmother, who um started me along that path of learning who God is. And thank God for that, because that has kept me a lot during this particular time. And also, um, having that community of people around me, faith-based people around me, not only Seventh-day Adventists, but faith-based people around me, individuals who are around me, to keep me grounded in terms of um, when I am at my weakest moment. Because I realize being resilient doesn't mean that you don't have that weak moment.
Right.
I had that weak moment, many weak moments, where I felt like, um, but when that came about, I had these strong men and women who were around me, faith based, encouraging me to look towards a brighter future. This is happening. Yes, it is happening. Yes, bad things happen, but look towards what is still good. What is still good? What do you still have? What you could be grateful for, despite all of these things that are happening around you or happening in you? So,
Yeah, perfect. And I think there's it's a really good opportunity for us to put your link up on the screen so we can maybe expand your community beyond the folks that are local and start to look at some
yeah.
folks that are even beyond that local group. We have your fun page and
GoFundMe.
and
Mm-hmm.
the link up on the screen, so that people can engage with you, engage with the story, engage with support, and kind of grow that community. because that's a critical piece, Dr. Gail,
Mm-hmm.
having a community of support
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
that's rooted and this is the big
Mm-hmm.
thing, because we talk this first segment, we talk a lot about theoretical grounding, and I don't think people give a true spirituality enough credit for being a theoretical grounding. So what
Mm-hmm.
you're
Yes,
describing isn't just people, but they're
Mm-hmm.
people who have a faith foundation, and
yes,
they can, even though things are looking bad, they can say, yeah, but our faith allows us to see beyond what the
Mm-hmm.
current
Okay,
situation
wonderful.
is. I
yes, yes.
appreciate
That is
you
what it does.
bringing that out.
Mm-hmm. I like Toya. I like what you said about because I'm going through what I'm going through. It's not that being resilient meaning that life is good or life is perfect. But
Yeah,
in spite of what it was that are facing, you were able to stand up, show up, and show out, right? You were
yeah,
able to pick up yourself. And in spite of it all, you were able to say, you know what, I am going to go to school. I'm going to teach my students, right?
yeah.
The fact that you didn't have, or that your eyesight was bad, did not deter
Yes.
you from pushing. And to me, if that is not resilience, I don't know what else is. That in spite of it all, because some people would have just crumbled. Some people would have, you know
They
what,
would. They would.
right? They would have given up on it. But I think you're right that the faith base that you have, and I know your mom personally, and she is a prayer
Yes.
warrior, she is a powerhouse. And so to have that foundation, I see that as a solid base for you. And even when we have the foundation, even when we have the faith, and my question for you was just that, even in your faith, with your time of wavering, did you as far as resilient goes, did you go, okay, where is God in this? Why me, God?
Oh,
Why couldn't it be
oh,
somebody
that's a
else?
good. Yes, I think what happens is that sometimes we think because, we as Christians, sometimes people think, um, because we know God, we don't have those moments.
Mhm.
But I had those moments. I had those moments when the second surgery came around. That is when the moment came. It was like, God, you told me to be strong. God, you said you will be with me during this, and then what's going on? I have to go through it again. So I question a lot of things. I question a lot of things. Um, but it came with not understanding. It came with not understanding the
Mm.
process. It came with
Mhm.
not understanding. Um, sometimes you ask God for the answer and he doesn't give you the answer right away. And I think
Mhm.
sometimes we want the answer from God right away. We want that right away. We ask for the healing and the healing happens instantaneously.
Mhm.
And we have to learn sometimes to just be still and wait on God. And I think for me, it was to be still and wait on God. It was
Mhm.
not, it came that it was not my strength anymore. I could not
Mhm.
have done anything anymore. And I really had to let go and let God do what he needed to do. So
Mhm.
yes, I wavered. I questioned. I cried because I thought I went to a dark place, guys. I went to a
Mhm.
dark place, and I don't want to go back to that dark place. And it's only
Mhm.
God pulled me out of it because people were around me and telling me, they quoted, be of good faith, have courage. They quoted to me, and during that time, I was going further down, further down
Mhm.
into that black hole. And it was
Mhm.
God who held my hand and pulled me out. Even during my questioning moments, it was
Mhm.
Him. So
So
yes,
even in the faith, or with the faith you had,
mm-hmm,
believing in a higher power, also
yeah,
having a sense of community who would rally and support you,
yeah,
that even in that moment there was a sense of weakness, right? And
yes,
yet you
yeah,
still have enough strength. You still had enough
yeah,
strength to say, Lord, help me through it. So I
yeah,
see where where you're talking about your experience and what resilience really looked like, right? From a real life situation. It is not
yeah,
that, and for those who are listening, it's not that you're not going to suffer through whatever it is, or that you're
yeah,
not going to go through certain things, or that life is just going to be peachy cream. But even in the midst of that, right? Even in the midst of what seems to be so difficult. No, as far as resilient goes, I'm going to ask, did you see I know this is far-fetched and don't shoot me, but do you see the blessing, or do you see a blessing in the midst of this struggle?
Oh, hmm. What is one thing that I've learned thus far
Mm.
in this? To be honest, I have learned to be patient. I have learned to my spiritual walk with God. First of all, I should say my spiritual walk with God has upped a notch.
Mm,
Certain things that happened last year that that really had me down and wavering. Now it doesn't affect me that much. I think I have grown spiritually and mentally in how I deal with things. I think I always consider myself resilient. I always consider myself never giving up, but I think now something else has been added to it. Something else has been added to it. And it came out during this storm, during this battle. So I must say, yes, during this time that I'm going through, because I'm still going through it, and it's a process. But I have learned that um, to always look onto the bright side. As my friend would normally say, don't look at the cup half empty, but half full, and give God thanks for what I still have, which is I could still see sunrise and sunset. I could still go to work. I still have people around me who love me. I still have these things. So I am saying being appreciative. I am saying that I have learned my spiritual walk has grown tremendously. Added on to that, the resilience that I had then to now is a little more solid. Yes, I wavered then, but now wavering, it's not as it was before. I am stronger. So I would say that has changed in me.
Yeah, and I think there's something really important for people to understand in the Dr. Gale asked you about the blessing, and
Yeah.
I'm one of those people who is like, no, there's no blessing here, dude. That's not what it is. But I love that you brought it to what the result really is, and it's finding the lessons. One of my favorite Bible verses is Romans 8:28, where we know that all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord according to His purpose, right? And it's this idea that no, it's not good. Nothing in here is good, but it all works together for the good.
My good.
Right?
And just to add to that, I have testimonies to tell. I have some what I realize I see when I go to the eye clinic is that there's a lot of people suffering with their eyes. A lot of people suffering, not only with their eyes, suffering in general in different things, health wise, that is. And that my story can lift someone else. As I'm telling my story now, somebody could be listening and say, hey, if this person could go through this and conquer, then I could be a conqueror too.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Perfect.
Very good.
With that, let's take a 30-second break, and we'll come back with our next segment and talk about promoting health. And just a heads up for you, Toya, we're going to talk about some of the causes here, some of the origin stories of the illness as well.
Yeah.
you. We're back with our illustrious co-hosts, Dr. Gail and Guy. I am Dr. Michael A. Wright, and we are on with Toya York, who's a
Yes.
veteran teacher in Trinidad and Tobago, here to inspire
I
us
love how you said
today.
a veteran teacher.
Right? And our segment for this section is promoting health. And I thought it would be an important piece to talk about the origin story of this. And I read
Yes,
about your story, and it seems like it's diabetes is kind of the
it
beginning.
is.
Can you tell us about that? Was
Well, I have been diagnosed with diabetes for 5+ years now, and they have placed me on metformin. First, I was on diamicron and then metformin. Those are drugs that the doctors would put you on, and they would monitor you to see how best you are controlling your blood sugar level. Also, you are also encouraged to exercise. You are also encouraged to exercise. You're hearing me? Sorry?
yes,
Yes,
yes, yes.
yes.
Yes,
Thank
you
you.
are also encouraged to exercise along with taking the medication and drink lots of water and different things. But for me, it runs in the family. It could be that you could get it from is a generation or lifestyle, as they would call it, a lifestyle disease. Um, so for me, it's both. It was both genetic and also lifestyle, because I was not eating healthy. Being honest, I was not eating healthy. And I was studying. When I realized that something was wrong, I was at the University of the Southern Caribbean studying, um, you know, uh, reading for my bachelor's degree to be a teacher. And I realized something was wrong, which is excessive thirst, frequent urination, the side effects of it, tired.
Mhm.
And because I read, I realized something was wrong. And I sort of self diagnosed that it was that. But I did not think um, it was, when you're younger, you think you're invincible.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah, you think you're invincible. And I left it untreated. I left it untreated. And uh, when it started becoming a problem, I definitely had to start the clinic and go to the health and wellness clinic, and they would advise you on the next step forward, which is taking dimicron or metformin, and changing the way you eat, eating
Mhm.
healthier and exercising, drinking water, dealing with your stress level in a positive way, and things like that.
Yeah, definitely. And that I think that's important for people, especially in the context of this segment promoting health, to recognize
Yeah,
how I'll, in full disclosure, I have similar traits in my family, and
yeah,
in Black families. I don't know if this is true in the Virgin Islands. It probably is, but we don't really talk about health. And
yeah,
so whatever is ailing your grandmother, no one really knows unless it's really bad or unless it gets to that point. And
yeah,
then we end up following in their footsteps. We don't necessarily eat healthier or
yeah,
exercise more. That's just one thing that I picked up that I wasn't going to do, was to not
yeah,
exercise in the context of what I know my family is prone to. But the point I'm making is I now see my mom, and I'm talking to my mom in passing, and didn't
yeah,
know this, but she casually mentions, "Yeah, and my diabetes. I'm just trying to. I'm managing
yeah.
it." I'm like, "Wait, what? Don't you think I should know this? Like, that's important to know that you are faced with this."
Yeah,
And meanwhile, the last time I saw her, she got a big piece of cake, and I was like, "Wait,
yeah,
what?"
yeah.
Um,
I
so
think,
it's just important to like share these stories so that we
Yes.
know that, especially if you have a genetic predisposition, like these are important things to pay attention to.
I think we underestimate. I think we underestimate what diabetes can do. I think a lot of us don't understand the effects of it on our body.
Mm.
Just like how I did not. And you learn, I have to be honest, you learn the hard way. Sometimes you learn the hard way. You have to experience things to learn, and sometimes, and that's okay. I could use my platform to tell others that it affects everything about you. It affects your eyes, it affects your your what your nervous system. It affects the nerves in the feet, it affects the nerves in the hand, it affects every single thing. And then they give you tablets, and then those tablets affect your kidneys because you have to be on it so long, and then in the long run what may or may not happen. So I think we underestimate the effects of diabetes, or as a matter of fact any illness, any lifestyle disease, or any illness that we may come up against.
Yeah. And I
So
saw
here is
something
some.
recently,
Mhm.
the just to put a finer point on that, the one of the biggest interventions for the insulin resistance, which is one of
Mm-hmm.
those kind of beginner ideas in terms of diabetes, is to start walking. And
Yes, it
so
is.
I'm on a big,
Proven fact,
hey,
yes.
I'm telling everybody now, walk, get 10
Yeah,
minutes, get 30 minutes, because
yeah.
especially after eating, because
Yes,
that's
yes,
where you get a lot of the benefits of
yeah,
spurring your body into doing what it's supposed to do.
yeah. In Trinidad and Tobago, we are very high in amputation,
Mm.
where the feet is concerned. Um, a lot of us, not only the elderly, but young, we are seeing it younger and younger where amputation is happening. So we are ranking in the Caribbean, and it stems from diabetes.
Wow.
So
So I wanted to share a bit of
yes.
a little statistic on what diabetes is, and I know Trinidad and the U.S. Virgin Islands we are considered Caribbean, but I like to call ourselves the Americans or the Americas
Yes.
because we are connected somehow to the United States. So in the United States of America, and if this is just the number for America, imagine what it is,
Mm-hmm.
including the Caribbean islands such as the Virgin Islands and even Trinidad. So there's more than 37 million people
Wow.
living with diabetes, and
And who
approximately
don't even know?
right. And half the time they don't know you're right. 90 to 95% of them have type 2 diabetes, right?
Yeah.
So it says diabetes usually develop after age 45. And I know if you have predisposed condition like your this
Mm-hmm.
predisposed condition like your mom, hereditary family members, of course,
Yeah.
right? You
High
gotta be
risk.
even more careful on how you eat, how you situate yourself in a way that is healthy. It is also in children. So, but the rates are raising in teenagers, in children, and
Yes.
in young adults, right? So, what are some things that we can do to help us with diabetes, right? Dr. Wright mentioned that walking is
Mm-hmm.
of utmost importance, exercising, fluctuate the blood system, the movement of things, and whatever it does biologically to the body, right?
Yes.
Eating healthy, planning your meal instead of
Yes.
going to fast food joint and getting like me
And
when I
oh,
go
we love fast food in the Caribbean.
right. I don't know why we do because it's not a thing for us. What happened? See how we become so Americanizing? Don't want to cook your food. I mean, I'm guilty. I'm number one of that, right?
Yes, yes.
So we want to cook food, cook
High
healthy
in
food,
fiber. Mm-hmm.
fiber food, vegetables, and we have those good stuff. And you have those good stuff there in Trinidad, like Karali, not just the
Yes.
bone, but the meat, the fruit, right? That you could cut up with Christophine, young breadfruit. I'm sorry, Dr. Wright, you don't know about this.
Yes.
Yeah, this is not your stuff.
I know about
In her
this.
neck of the woods, in her neck of the woods, these are things that you can do, and we do a lot of
Yes, okra and different things.
right, exactly. So knowing the facts, knowing the statistics, right? And if you're predisposed to it, please be careful. Please eat well. Please exercise. I mean, I'm talking to myself. I'm telling you, I
Yes.
just went about the way, and I go, okay, Gail, you need some exercise in your life. So exercise, physical activities is important. Eating good, right? Walking after meal. Dr. Wright says that. Joining a gym if you don't have if you're close and you can afford to join a gym, but walking do just fine, right?
Yeah.
And then plan your meals, be and stay active. Okay.
Definitely.
One thing else to add to this is that we need to look at the mentality, the
Mm-hmm.
mindset, because what I realized
Mm,
going some when you have these lifestyle diseases like with diabetes and such, it is sometimes just today, I was speaking to someone and they said, I don't know what to do again. I eat this and my sugar level goes up. I don't eat this and my sugar level still goes up. You know, it's a mental space that you're placed within. And how do we deal with that as anyone, even if it's not diabetes, anyone dealing with any form of illness, whether it's cancer or anything like that? How do we deal with that mentally? knowing that knowing that these are some challenges that we have to eat to live with, especially or what to eat, what not to eat. um because
exactly.
we all want to eat, we all want to, there's a term that we use, if we know better we do better, and that,
Mm-hmm.
that's not true, because
Yep.
sometimes we know better
But then
but
we
we don't
don't.
necessarily do better.
Mhm.
Yep.
All right.
I think
So
I think that the challenge is as far as mentally,
yeah.
how do we get to snap ourselves out of it? And I don't know that we can snap
Yeah.
ourselves out of it. I think
How?
what we need to do is to be intentional about
Yeah.
what we know. If you know these, and I know, I hear you, it's easier said than done. That we don't always do what we know we should do, right?
Yeah.
But I think that we need to be intentional, get educated about what
Yeah.
the issues are. One of the things that I said to my students when we have these thoughts in our mind, like I know I should, and so these negative thoughts comes to you and go, well, and I said to them, own the thought, don't dismiss it.
Yeah.
Wrestle with the thought, fight the thought, ask the thought, but why do you want me to eat sugar when you know I can't eat certain things,
Yeah.
right? This is not good for my body. The Bible said, bring every thought into subjection of the
Yeah.
Holy Spirit. So we need to be intentional, and we need to find the resilience like you do, even when we're weak, the willpower. But how do you find it? I mean, sometimes we have to go to what you're going to. Sad to say, I'm so sorry,
Yeah.
Toya.
Yeah. Yeah. That is true.
And sometimes somebody's story can be our
Mm-hmm.
lesson, right? So people just need to be aware, be cognizant, and take action in living healthier lives.
I love how you said your students, because it reminds me of in my classroom, um where I am honest with my students. They are 10-year-olds and 11-year-olds, and I will tell them, I say, I have diabetes. They say, what is diabetes? And I say, and we went through all the things. So sometimes when they see me eating, they say, Miss, eating healthy again, you eating salads again, you don't eat this. And I have to explain to them, yes, eating salad is for this and doing that is for that. And I will tell them, I said, I have children who has it, the type 1, that is, who are born with it, and they'll say,
Mhm,
Miss, we children like us has that? And I would say,
mhm,
yes. So
mhm,
it's learning for them as well as I go through my process.
in
It's
the
learning for them
classroom.
as well, even when they see me put drops in my eyes, because I have to do it in school. They see me put drops in my eyes. They say, Miss, is your eyes hurting? I will say, they are so concerned, but I use it as a platform to teach them that they
Very
are
good.
not too young to take care of their health as well. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's
Thank you.
critically important. Thank
Mhm,
you
Yeah.
for that, because sometimes that can be difficult to discuss,
Yeah.
like that honesty that you share and the openness that you're giving to your students to say, yeah, I'm doing better, and now I'm like you said, the hardest thing in the world, and I try my hardest not to be this guy, to learn it the hard way. Like, please let me learn it before I have to get it the hard way. But
Yes.
sometimes
Yes.
we find ourselves in those
Yeah.
positions, and I've been
Because we
there.
never thought it would happen to you. I never
Yeah,
thought. I never thought
yeah.
it would happen to me.
Like you said, like what invincible, and at one
Yeah.
point I thought I was favored, and all these
Yeah.
different things. and but not in every area. You're totally favored in God's eyes,
Yeah.
but the idea of that you don't have a responsibility to that part is where we often fall short. We I know I have a responsibility, so I have to be about that responsibility. So thank
Yes.
you for sharing that and being that person who recognizes that and then also shares that with this group, the
Yeah.
children that you're blessed to have an opportunity to influence.
And I love being open with what is happening with me, especially with anyone who asks or see that I am, because sometimes when I'm walking around, it's harder to walk around. Sometimes I don't move as fast as I did. I will move slower in terms of recognizing what's in front of me and everything. And so people do look at me and say, "Oh, something is definitely wrong," you know. But I always share with the staff at Maracas SDA School. The principal knows, everybody knows what's going on with me. So it's not a secret. I think that is where um when you hold it and you keep it as a secret and you
Yeah,
don't share it with others, I think that is where sometimes your doubt, your shame, your guilt, everything, this your mental
exactly,
health becomes disturbed because you're
exactly,
holding on to it and you're not sharing with others who could help you, who could really help you during that time.
Mm.
exactly.
Yeah.
Let's take a break because I want that to be the whole
The
last
segment.
segment.
Mhm.
Is like when we talk about facilitating healing, this is
Yeah.
exactly the idea we're talking about. So we'll be back after this. Dr. Michael A. Wright and Dr. Gail Ann Guy here with Toya York. Thank you for spending this time with us, Toya.
Yes, pleasure. It is indeed a pleasure spending time with you all.
We are going into our third segment, facilitating healing, and I
Oh,
am
this is a
excited
nice one.
about this segment because the thing that I heard you say, I want to key in on very
Mm-hmm.
intensely. Mindset was one thing that you said, and
Yeah.
mental health was
Yes.
what Dr. Gail Lamb was connecting to. Tell me about the how those pieces fit for you, updating that mindset and really focusing on mental health.
Oh, renewing my mind. I know the Bible talks about renewing your mind, and
Mhm.
I must say I have to do that daily. I cannot lie. I have to renew my mind daily because I, I tell others that are around me, when I open my eye, I see the situation. When I open my eyes, it's there. It's not like it's a cut and you could put a band-aid and you don't see it. When I open
Mm-hmm.
my eyes, I see the blurriness. I see the synthetic oil in my eyes. I see the issue. I see the problem and it's there. And it's easy to become um, overwhelmed. It's so easy to become overwhelmed and become, lost in my own thoughts that could sabotage the outcome of it. So I have to renew my mind daily in terms of the affirmation, in terms of the positivity that I make come into my space. The people who are wrong me that I make come into my space. And because I am so also in an emotional space right now, sometimes someone might say something, not necessarily that they are being negative, but because I am in this period of my life where sometimes my emotion waver in terms of how I feel per day, day by day. I try my best to have people who are positive
Um,
only around me,
very good.
because it's so easy to
Mhm.
think negatively. It's so easy to say, well, Toya, guess here what? That's it for you. That's it. It makes no sense trying anymore. Just give up. But I refuse to do that. I refuse to do that. So I renew my mind daily. And because I renew my mind daily, my mental health is better, at a better place now. Before, when I first started, it wasn't there. It was every day that I wouldn't lie. It was a sabotage. I sabotaged my own self. I would tell myself, the worst is going to happen. And I had to learn how to renew my mind with positive things. Toya, this too shall pass. Toya, I will walk through the gates of Miraculous Day School. I will stand in front of my class again. I will teach again. I will read again. I will be able to do these things. And I had to talk to myself loud, not in my mind, but loud, speak to myself loud and tell myself these things, because it is a scary moment, because I'm still going through it. It's still scary and the thoughts do come, but because I'm better at renewing my mind faster than before, the thoughts don't linger. So right now I'm in a better place, not discarding that I do think thoughts, especially knowing that I still have a surgery upcoming. And as we all have fear, I have fear. I have fear. It's not perfect. I have fear when I think about it, but I renew my mind with positive things. I tell myself, Toya, that surgery is to get me better so I can be the best that I can be, for the person that I am, for the students that I can mold and shape, for the education system, for being a better sister, friend, different things like that.
Toya,
Yeah.
I can tell you how right you are
Mhm.
in saying the things that you're saying. I like the fact that you said to yourself, or that you would have created your space, that space that are
Yeah.
going to be conducive to your healing and you
Yeah.
move forward. And having the tenacity and the gumption, the love for yourself to say, listen, you're
Yeah.
not for me. I don't need you in my space. And oftentimes when we go
Yeah.
through things like this, right, we are so vulnerable, and that we are ourselves to be in situations that are not conducive to our growth, our healing, and our health and development, that we allow negativity. But the fact that, I'm talking about resilience, the fact that you have that gumption, listen, no, this is not going to work for me. I need
Yeah.
to have a safe space and people around
Yeah.
me who, and it's important, it is necessary, who is going to
It
help.
is.
So everything that you talk about, Toya, being yourself, inventing yourself, loving on yourself,
Yeah.
right? Getting a grip of your mind is so
Oh,
important
yes.
in this on this journey for you. Forgetting the past, right? Looking. Don't look back.
Yeah.
Don't look down. Look what's in front of you, right? And anticipating what's coming in the future, right?
Yes.
You do it well, encouraging yourself on a daily basis. Toya will see again. Toya will walk down this
Yes.
path. Yes.
Yes.
So forgetting the past, focus on the future, and flip the anxiety switch. Right? I know
Oh, I love
you
that. Flip the anxiety
flip
switch.
it, girl. Flip it. I know that you talk about when you were going to school and you were worried about, and then people had to take you, and you may be thinking of people saying this or looking at me at this way.
Yeah.
Listen, you did good when you say, listen, I'm gonna tell my story. And by telling my story, I'm gonna help somebody. That's flipping
Yeah.
the switch,
I'm
right?
not gonna keep it to myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Tell somebody. And instead of feeling anxious and being in crowd, in places and spaces,
Yeah.
be present. Ground yourself. Be present
Yes.
in the space. And thank God in your mind, at least I am here. I can be here,
Yeah.
right? I'm gonna own this space in as much as, right? Make
Yeah.
meaning, right? Give meaning to your student. And you're doing that already, right? You're doing this
Yes.
for your students. You're doing this for even for us listening, and I'm sure our listening audience, right? Give
Yes.
meaning, and then a couple more. Let meaning trump your mood. So Dr.
Hmm.
Wright say he gets up and he walk, right, because he has a responsibility. So
Yes.
the meaning is, I need to go to school to teach these children, despite how I
Yes.
feel, despite of what's going on with me right now. The meaning is the life I
Hmm.
have and the value, Toya, right,
Yes.
that you're adding to these children, not just to the
Yes.
children, but the faculty who's watching you, those
Yeah.
teachers who are watching you and seeing you go through that, right? That is meaning. So always remember that. Let
Yeah.
meaning trump your mood and upgrade your personality. Hey, so
Oh.
find fancy shades, girl. I'm gonna find me a couple fancy shades and mail them to you. Find fancy shades and put them on and they look fabulous as ever. Yes, girl, you know you cute, right? So upgrade your
Yes.
personality, right? And then you deal with circumstances as they come. Don't try not to
Yes.
be overwhelmed. Just deal as they come one by one. Remove yourself.
Yeah, that is what, yeah.
I have a young lady who comes to me every once in a while. She said, Dr. Guy, I don't stress. I can't stress. So when
Yeah.
I'm in a situation that's going to stress me, I just simply ease myself out, right?
Yes.
That means you might need to delete numbers, drop friends, drop people,
Yeah.
deal with
Yes.
circumstances
Yes.
as they come. Don't try not to get overwhelmed. And I think that you'll be on a path to healing. And you sound like you're on a path to healing, right?
Yes.
You
Yes.
sound
I
like you're
am.
doing
I
really good.
am
Yeah,
mentally.
very
Yes.
good. I'm most proud of you.
Oh,
Dr. Wright?
thank you.
Yeah, I think you hit some really good pieces, and I do appreciate you, Toya. This it's I always think about how difficult it is to stand up and say that you learned some
Yes.
lessons, and I just
Yes. Some
I
some hard lessons.
appreciate.
Yes.
Yeah, it's I always think about a life well lived, and that's really what
Mm-hmm.
I aspire to, like
Yeah.
to. It's not just about the people that you touch and how you touch them and all these different things, and engaging and making a difference.
Yes.
It's just being a positive example,
Yes.
and I like all the different pieces. I'm
Yes.
gonna run through them again just because I want to put them up on the screen. Drop
Yeah.
the negativity, including the people. Flip
Yes.
the anxiety switch.
I love that.
Do not be afraid to tell your story. Live your
Mm.
purpose. Let
Yes.
meaning trump your mood. And
Ooh.
that final one, deal with situations as they come. I,
They
I think
come.
that's just so critically important. And I also want to transition us into the real appeal here
Mm-hmm.
is the opportunity that's been on the screen for
Yeah.
this whole time, which is to help you, Toya, by donating to your fund to
Yes.
help you secure the surgery later this year. And so
Yeah.
we want to make sure that our listeners, people who engage with this video, who get this shared to them in different ways throughout social media over the next couple of months, take this
Yes.
opportunity to invest in not only their own health and
Yeah.
well-being, but also into supporting a fellow traveler on this journey
Journey.
who
Yes.
requires some help. So
Take
I
it away.
wish you
What
the
do you
best.
want us? Yes,
We will
Toya.
be doing our part.
The last moments
Okay.
are yours, Toya.
Oh, it's up to me in here now. Okay.
Yes,
So
7 minutes.
guys, so guys, my story has been told, and I think I have a lot to offer. I think I have a lot to offer. I have just started. I have just started, and this is just the tip of the iceberg for me. It is just the tip of the iceberg. And I see myself, I see myself, you know, continuing doing what I love. I see myself um being the educator for years to come. With the oldest child that I taught is already in their 20s,
Wow.
already in their 20s. And when I see them, it's a feeling that you get. It's like what is the word I want to use? A feeling that you get, that you are satisfied. That is the word. You are satisfied. Yes, that you did something. You added something to this person's life. That when you look at them, wow. I think that this surgery will allow me to be the best teacher that I can be, so that I can keep transforming the lives of students for years to come.
Mm-hmm.
For years. And when I say years to come, even when I retire, after
Mm-hmm.
that, for years to come. Because I don't think you ever stop being a teacher. I
Mhm.
don't think you ever stop being a teacher.
Right.
All
Mhm.
right. So,
Mhm.
guys, I love what I do. I am
Okay.
passionate
Mhm.
and I know God is not finished with me. He has
Mhm.
started a good thing. And
Mhm.
one thing I know with God, He keeps promises. And when
Mhm.
he keeps promises, so if He started a good thing, He's going to end it. And by
Amen.
ending it, it will end in such a way my life journey will take me here, there, and everywhere. I will become the best version of myself, which is to be the best teacher, so that I
Mhm.
can transform the lives of Trinidad, not only in Trinidad and Tobago, because I don't see myself
Mhm.
as limiting myself only to Trinidad and Tobago, but around the world.
Mhm.
He's going to expand my
Wonderful.
territory. I believe there's something great in me, something
Mhm.
great. You could feel it, you know it, that there's
Mhm.
something great. Right?
Toya,
So,
what an inspiration you are. I'm telling you.
yeah,
And I know that folks who will be listening to the podcast would feel and be inspired by what you
passion,
have to
yeah.
share. And so I just want to say thank you for
Thank
being on the show
you.
tonight and for being so eloquent and telling your
Ooh,
story in ways that people really could identify. It's a human story, right? And we
yes, it
feel
is.
things for each other. So thank you so much for sharing, and I pray all the best for you, and hope
Thank
that don't
you.
forget to put up the GoFundMe page. Use this podcast. You could use this particular
Mm-hmm.
episode to share with your friends. It's also on my Facebook page, and so
Yes.
you can connect with me and then share it in that way too as well. And
Thank
I
you.
will again revisit, put up the link and
Yes,
the
please.
story. Yes, thank you.
Wonderful.
Most
Great to
welcome.
meet you.
And you too. Thank you
All right.
guys for
We'll
for
talk
you
soon.
know giving me the platform to share.
All right,
Thank
talk
you.
soon.
Stay
Good night.
online. Stay